I broke my back.
What do you mean by that?
My back is broken.
What do you mean, calm it down? It's a fight. Referees telling two fighters who want to fight to calm it down. He should calm down.
I saw he's like a clown in his show, man. He's not your guy.
Because Tyson Fury's back, and all you motherfuckers are under attack.
Look, Eddie Hearn can say all what he likes. Who gives a shit what Eddie Hearn says? It's garbage.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
Can you let me retire and be happy? Please, just please.
Bombs away from the Bronx Bomber!
Wada! Let's go, baby! Let's go!
I'm through. They put somebody else up and give me an interview.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You never give me a fair shake. HBO needs to fire you. You don't know shit about boxing. You ain't shit. You're not shit.
I wish I was 50 years younger and I'd kick your ass.
I got drunk, man.
Are you kidding?
No, you won the fight.
OMG, I am so excited.
Any of you radio personalities think you want smoke? Call me Mr. Chimney. I want smoke.
Yes. What is up? What is up? Mixed Combat Radio family. Another daily edition of the show live on YouTube, obviously podcast form, iTunes, Spotify, iHeartRadio, etc. Leave that 5-star review on iTunes. Hit the like button. Share the show on YouTube. If you're leaving a chat or comment down below, head over to patreon.com/mixedcombatradio and go leave a chat and comment on the post for championship rounds and trending now. 2 out of the 4 Patreon shows we have that we are open to the public. Those posts are open. Leave a comment and question down below in those posts. And definitely go sign up because all the money, all the proceeds go towards Rob and Fugatti getting camera equipment. That's sort of 1 month thing we're still doing. So all the subscription or sort of monthly donation that you guys give, also for this month, will go towards Rob and Fu. So they get February and March's total revenue, basically, of Mixed Combat Radio. So yes, Rob, a little 2-month bonus or extra month bonus for you. Way to go, right? And I got to get it Fu, because Fu, I mean, come on, trending now, such a huge hit on Patreon. That's all due to Fugatti, let's be honest. Don't roll your eyes, Rob. That's very, very disrespectful. But anyways, back to the show itself. I'm Matt, the Hipster Hunter. Obviously, we're going to be discussing the Dillian Whyte ESPN deal, or the lack thereof at this point, but a rumored deal that is in the works. Plus, Deontay Wilder versus Dominic Breazeale being ordered by the World Boxing Super Series. Shocking? No. Not at all.
By the WBC, Matt, not the World Boxing Super Series.
Did I say World Boxing Super Series?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's been ordered by the World Boxing.
Can you
Super
imagine?
Series.
I'm like, oh my god, you guys don't even have money. You can't order that.
But in the realms of possibility, what Calla Sutherland might say.
Thank you for that, Rob. WBC has ordered it, which I think again wasn't shocking at all. Plus some more heavyweight news: Wladimir Klitschko, considering a massive DAZN deal. But we've heard it before, so I don't know if it's something that feels so concrete. I don't know. And plus, Marat Gassif moving up to heavyweight and potentially signing to Matchroom/DAZN. Gennady Golovkin basically announcing that he still hasn't made an announcement. Awesome. Gilberto Ramirez taking a tune-up. A bunch of other stuff to get to and nitpick and debate. But, of course, I'm joined, as you heard him before, with his lovely British voice. Mr. Robbie Hearns himself, second cousin twice removed of Sir Eddie. Rob, how are you doing? How's the family doing?
Yeah, we're all good, all good. Yeah, what a day of news. I mean, this was obviously late last night, Keith Idek's story, and I saw you in our chat saying, yo, Rob's going to go crazy tomorrow when he sees this. I'm sort of undecided just quite where I sort of
stand on it.
Yeah, part of me thinks, good on you, making a ton of money. I mean, we've still yet to just sort of hear what exactly the crack is with this, what the offer is and that. Well, I guess that
or even if it's actually going to happen yet. They are just in negotiation at this point, per Keith Idek.
Oh, yeah, that's finalizing. So I guess it's close, but we'll talk about that.
We've heard that for Triple G for how long? Come on.
Yeah, and we've heard today that the snail pace of this negotiation is still dragging on. He's snagging, I don't know, who knows. But yeah, just a ton of news, and obviously the WBC. Yeah, and obviously Dillian Whyte's wrapped up in that news as well. So yeah, let's just I guess get into it. Obviously, people in the chat, share the show. Or if you're hearing this, whenever, just share the show, hit that thumbs up on your way in, out, whenever you're listening, and yeah, help us grow.
Absolutely. Hold on 1 second as I get the article up, because my overlay is all messed up. I don't know what happened to it, man. I don't know what we did on the last show that messed it all up. But anyways, per Keith Idek and Boxing Scene, Dillian Whyte's deal with Top Rank and ESPN nearing completion. Again, no specifics on this deal at this point. Also, Eddie Hearn has come out in an interview with AB Boxing News on YouTube and basically said to the effect that Dillian Whyte called him, I believe is his exact word. I don't have the tweet up, unfortunately. I do apologize. But that Dillian Whyte called him and said that it's not as it seems or something. I'm paraphrasing at this point. But that Eddie Hearn will support him either way. Blah 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 blah. But sort of downplaying this news in a way.
Do you want to actually say?
Yes, sure.
He said, I've spoken to him briefly about the ESPN stuff. He says, no, not really. But obviously there's a lot of strong reports. If he doesn't want to stay with us, I wish him all the best, but hopefully we'll still be working with him.
Okay. Anyways, I don't know really what to think about this. Because it's not official yet, so I don't have really any concrete opinions about unconcrete news. This news is very fluid at this point. But let's say, for hypothetical purpose here, Rob, let's say this deal does happen. Right? Let's at least for this part of the argument, because we can debate maybe whether or not this does happen in a separate argument. But let's say this deal is made. Dillian Whyte does go to ESPN, does go to Top Rank. He's no longer a matchroom fighter. What are your thoughts about that? I mean, I really don't know how I think about it still to this day. It came up on my feed late last night. I sent the link to you and went to sleep. I slept it over. Still don't know how I feel about it. But your thoughts, your sort of immediate thoughts about Dillian Whyte, again, potentially going to ESPN and going to Top Rank.
Well, initially, another fighter getting a big deal, can't really blame them if there's all this money, and then obviously throughout the day I've been checking Twitter, and you see certain people that I follow or people that I follow have retweeted someone else's sort of opinions on it. But I don't know, initially I sort of thought, I get it, he's pissed off, maybe he's playing second fiddle to Joshua as far as he can tell, regarding Eddie Hearn, maybe looking after Joshua a little bit more than if that's how he sort of feels. But is he now going over to Top Rank ESPN to play second fiddle to Tyson Fury? And he's also headed over there where there are no bouts, as much as Tyson Fury will tell you he's the lineal champion. But I don't think that come attached with an actual bout. But yeah, so to me, it's a kind of a strange move. But if he's thinking, look, I'm not getting these shots that I feel I deserve, I might as well go and make some money then and get similar opponents that I've kind of been fighting anyway for maybe more money. So I don't know. But obviously, Pulev's over there, who is like an IBF mandatory as it stands. Are they going to try and make Pulev fight Whyte and he becomes an IBF mandatory? Or does Pulev say, nah, I've got that shot? Although I've seen other people say, oh, well, he's ducked JJ twice now. Why would he hang on to it for a third time, and pull out of a fight again with Joshua? But obviously Dillian's got the WBO spot, but that can maybe depend on what Usyk decides to do, because obviously being the champion of the WBO, the cruiserweight, he can come up and say, I want a shot, because he's moving up. But and obviously today, the WBC have sort of swiped away the opportunity at the Deontay Wilder fight via the WBC, because they've mandated or saying
Let's not get too far into that. But yes. Yeah.
So to some degree, he's sort of, I think he's just backing himself, and he's taking that. He's playing some kind risk, and he's hoping this is going to pay off. And obviously, in the meantime, it's going to pay off like money wise. So you would assume. So it's just walking away from. Sky have made him into a pretty regular 400,000 pay-per-view buy sort of guy, but we don't know that.
I just wanted to ask about
BT.
I just want to ask about that. Well, again, I think people were quick to sort of think that this was a automatic. Oh, he's leaving Eddie and Sky. I don't think that's necessarily a guarantee. Similar to Fury signing to Top Rank and ESPN. Did that mean he left BT and Frank Warren? No, absolutely he didn't. There's no direct relationship or contract between BT and ESPN that I know of when it comes to sort of sharing content. Like over just a blanket deal. They have an individual deal with Frank Warren, but that's I think that's separate from a BT partnership. They have a deal with Frank Warren. So similar, I think if it's highly possible that Whyte could be in a position where his U.S. promoter is not Eddie Hearn, it's not Matchroom U.S., it's Top Rank, it's ESPN, and that's the network there. But still, he is in the UK a Matchroom fighter promoted over there and shown on Sky. I don't think that is entirely out of the realm of possibility. In fact, I think that is highly possible. And if you're Eddie Hearn, you heavily push for that. Now, the question is because Whyte was on that one fight revolving deal. And I think that's why this is now a discussion. Because with Fury, we know he signed to Frank Warren and MTK and BT sort of long term, right? So we knew that relationship was going to end with him signing to ESPN/Top Rank. With Whyte, that's more of a question because he doesn't have a long-term deal with Sky that I know of. He doesn't have a long-term deal with Matchroom, and that's sort of been public knowledge for a while now. Again, I don't know what is really possible for dual partnership with Eddie, Bob, ESPN, and Sky. I think it is completely possible. They are completely different markets and spheres of influences. And it's quite common for fighters to have a co-promoter, one in the U.S., one in the U.K., especially these big-time fighters. I don't know if you want to sort of talk about that individually, Rob.
Yeah, just quickly. I mean, I see people's logic behind sort of thinking, oh, he's going to be on BT now. I see this sort of where people sort of maybe jump to that.
Yeah, absolutely. I see why they do as well. I do.
Yeah. So it's just interesting because I think we know Fury's deal is to fight in America. So is Dillian Whyte's offer the same? Is he not going to fight in the UK? So Sky going to be picking up? Obviously, he's not going to be pay-per-view at 4 a.m. in the morning. Dillian Whyte is not that big a draw. Yeah, fine in a UK fight in UK prime time.
Yes,
great.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be Sky pay-per-view at 4 a.m. against Oscar Rivas.
No, I agree with that. Absolutely.
So I don't know. It seems like he's to a point left some money on the table this side of things, but that's depending on whether he's purely going to be fighting in America now.
And also, we don't know how much money he's getting offered from ESPN. It may not be he's losing money overall. From a gross revenue perspective, if he's taking this deal and leaving the UK market like Fury, it's because there's more money overall just to do this move than it is to stay in the UK and do it and be the sort of mid-tier pay-per-view star, which he is.
Oh yeah. I'm sure. He seems to be pretty savvy as far as the business side of it goes. So he's not gone, how much? Oh yeah, sure. Oh, wait a minute, that's less than I was. So he's definitely taking this on in the mindset that it's more money than if I stay in the UK and do my 400 pay-per-view buys. So I'm sure he's compensated in that regard. But again, like the Fury thing, are Americans madly head over heels with Fury? Are they madly head over heels with Dillian Whyte?
Well, we're gonna get into like the Gassiev news with like the DAZN Matchroom pickup, right? And like that's a great pickup if you're a hardcore boxing fan, right? Everyone as a casual, like, do they care about Murat Gassiev? No. And of course, Whyte, Fury are much bigger stars, much bigger draws and commodities than Murat Gassiev. but it still has that similar effect, as you say. Like, are the U.S. fan base, the casual sporting audience, the people that watch NBA games, Sunday night football, maybe some MLB playoff games, maybe some hockey playoff games, the World Cup and the Olympics. Those casuals, right? Are they going to be ones tuning into ESPN Plus for Fury Whyte? No. I don't really think so. Could they become that? That's a completely different question. Because that's so much speculation, so many hypotheticals on how to do that. But the foundation's there. Like Fury, if he used to beat everyone in the heavyweight division and stays on top for the next 5 years, is he going to be a star? I think so. Same with Whyte. If Whyte comes out here and he starts beating Fury, AJ in a rematch, Wilder, and all these mega fights, is Whyte going to turn into a superstar? Yeah, I think so. Those are huge ifs. But I think ESPN and Top Rank are sort of making that gamble. On top of that, this is now their second top 5 heavyweight they've picked up in the span of, 2 weeks? That is pretty impressive. Like, I don't know, again, there's so many different angles to take about this pickup if it was to happen. How does it affect matchmaking in this division in an already very frustrating situation? Does it make it worse? Potentially. Obviously now there's a pipeline for a Fury Whyte fight, which I think we all really like on paper. It's a fight that we all sort of never thought about in a real sense because of the obvious difference in promoters at the time, networks at the time, but now they're on the same U.S. network, same U.S. promoter, potentially. I love that fight. It's enough to where I ignore the fact that now Fury Whyte are seemingly on another block and not fighting the DAZN and Showtime fighters, even though every party is saying, yeah, we can work together, at the same time not working together. I don't know. Like that to me is the thing where I come back to. I'm like, is this a good thing for the sport? Is this a good thing for the fans? Is it a good thing for the consumer? When I start asking those questions about this deal, I start having worries about it. But from a pure boxing fan perspective, a hardcore fan perspective, I like a Whyte Fury matchup. I know it's not the first one we're getting, but I like that fight. And now we have a direct pipeline to that. So will that alleviate some of these issues? Potentially. And again, like you said, it's Whyte getting a big paycheck potentially, at least assumingly. I can never really hate on that. Same with Fury. Yes, it does complicate the division. Yes, it does complicate matchups being made. But it's definitely probably the right move for Whyte, if I'm going to be completely honest. Like if I'm advising him and he has this big ESPN deal and he's not this big A side, he's not one of the big 3, yeah, go take it. Go take it. He's one of those people I talk about where a year or 2 ago, he never gets a deal because he's not one of those big names. Yeah, he's a good draw, good level commodity, but he's not an AJ. He's not a Fury. He's not a Deontay Wilder. He's right below that tier. But in this current landscape, in this paradigm of just the flooded network budgets, he can get a big deal. So go take that deal. I'm never going to hate on that, just like I don't hate on Fury for that base reason, even though it does complicate the division potentially. Rob?
Yeah, I just find it interesting that in the article from Keith Idett, he mentioned, obviously, we know he went and met with PBC, met with ESPN, and he also met with DAZN. Now, being linked up with Eddie and Matchroom, it's a little strange to me that DAZN have kind of gone, he's met them, but it hasn't been a good enough deal, or they've sort of gone, nah. They didn't want the Chisora rematch on DAZN. That just went over to Showtime. I don't know quite, on DAZN side of things what their thinking is, but I also got a question, like, is Al Heyman running out of money? Why was Al Heyman not?
Is DAZN running out of money?
Nah. And I'm sure Al isn't either. But yeah. I'm just saying, why?
Then why even bring it up?
No, it's interesting to me that this is a perfect person to bring over because, don't get me wrong, I like Wilder Kalnacki fight. That's nice. I'm not a fan of this Breazeale one, although it's been ordered. I don't think it's a great fight.
I will be on. Obviously, when we get to it, I will say this before we get to it. I'm just happy to get it out of the way. Finally. You know what I mean? Like, that would be the one benefit of that. But anyways, back to you.
But what? I know there's maybe some younger guys coming up. But is there really much left for Wilder if he does stay over on PBC? I don't think there really is. And White would have been a fantastic.
Yo, you're forgetting who's fighting this weekend, man.
Oh, all right.
F.A. Agabi, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Ajabi. Yeah, come on. That guy looks... and he's fighting Amir Mansour. Like, that's a good step up. I like
the
that.
winner of that. Yeah, I can't wait.
I would say it's better than... who did... fucking Razvan Kahoni or whoever the fucking sparring partner is. I never get his name right, and I'll be honest, Rob. I purposely don't get that motherfucker's name right, okay? I do.
There's more respect than that. But no, I get it, yeah. Well, obviously he's fighting Daniel Dubois on Friday.
And he fought Nathan Gorman, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, back to White.
I just think
that topic,
maybe Showtime or PBC have kind of missed the trick on Dillian Whyte, because I think that is potentially maybe a good fight and rematch, Whyte and Wilder.
I think everyone will miss out if they don't get Whyte. Like, I think that's the funny part, because I know Lunatics mentioned Joe Murkowski, one of the big DAZN. I forget exactly what his title is. One of the DAZN execs.
He's kind of like the U.S. head of U.S.
It's him and John. It's him and John Skipper. Those are the two top guys. That's how I sort of. If it's one of them speaking, it's gospel. Potential Lunatic saying, and I trust Lunatic in the chat. I did not see this interview that he's alluding to, saying that Murkowski did not seem to. What was the exact wording that Lunatic used? 100% interested in Dylan. If that's the case, I don't know why that is. I'm wondering if. And look, we talked about this before. Top Rank has this really big deal, huge network, right? But they arguably have the lesser stable, right? Like when we talk about what DAZN can put together, they have Canelo, they have AJ, right? Like they have Daniel Jake, like they have really big chess pieces and very big divisions to move and to make matchups with that are in-house. PBC can do that in their own respective divisions. Top Rank is the only real stable that can't do that with their big stars. Like, there's no other contemporary in Top Rank stable that can fight a Terrence Crawford, for example. There's nobody that can really fight a Lomachenko in that stable that would be like a Thurman Spence fight, for example. Right? Hell, even, I might go on a limb here, there's no Leo Santa Cruz, Gary Russell Jr. fight in Top Rank stable. There's no Wilder Wanaki fight in their stable. Like they'd really have an issue, I think, making fights. Look at the Gilberto Ramirez fight we're going to talk about later on. They struggle with matchups at the very top. So if they have a bunch of money they're not really using because they don't have a lot of big fights they're making, I see this as their move to sort of get a big fight, if that makes sense. Fury White, for what anyone wants to say, and even people in the U.S. market that want to downplay their drawing power in the U.S. market, that matchup on regular ESPN with some push behind it does numbers. It does really good numbers. I'm talking it could do 3-4 million viewers on ESPN. It could maybe break 5. Like if it's really pushed. We
know the press conference for that would be epic.
Epic. I don't know if they're going to try pay-per-view with that one, but that's beside the point. I don't want to talk about that.
Fury and Dillian Whyte press conference. Yes, please.
But I think that's what Bob Arum and ESPN are calculating here. Is like, hey, look, we don't have a guy that we can put Crawford with that's really going to be a mega fight. Look at the Khan fight that's pay-per-view, right? That's not a pay-per-view mega fight. It just isn't. Loma versus Comey, Loma versus anyone isn't a super mega fight. It isn't that. But Fury White, that could be it. That could be it. And also, again, it gives them massive pieces in a red-hot division right now that really, let's be honest here, those matchups are really the only matchups I can see being successful in pay-per-view. Like Spence Crawford, I'll be honest, that never is successful in pay-per-view. Never. It would never break 500,000. AJ Wilder, AJ Fury, Wilder, Fury too. Any of those machinations. Obviously, if Whyte comes in and starts beating everyone, I think he comes into that equation. Yes, those fights are mega fights. And I just see Bob Arum, ESPN, sort of risking it and getting Fury and Whyte, the two lesser guys, so to speak, of the top 5 division, top 4 in the division. It's a calculated risk, but I think it might make sense in the end. It really might. I think we saw with Fury fighting Wilder, any of these guys can lose. Even AJ has put up close fights in the past. Obviously, the Klitschko fight, for example. I would even argue like the Takam and Parker fights were tough for him in ways. May not have been like, controversial, he might lose, but they were tough, right? Even the Whyte fight, for example, even though he finished it, that was a back-and-forth affair. He was hurt. It might be different in 2019, 2020 in these matchups. Maybe Fury and Whyte can knock off these two guys, and now ESPN Top Rank has the #1 heavyweight in the world, and that means something. Rob, any sort of last thoughts about Whyte ESPN deal before we move on to Wilder and Breazeale specifically?
I mean, yeah, just quickly, obviously people wondering whether ESPN and BT have got some kind of thing going, but obviously we know Loma and Crawler is shown on Sky over here. That was kind of announced. It wasn't a surprise to me anyway, because obviously it's maybe a co-promotion because of Crawler's involvement in the card. So I don't know if there's going to be a couple of other sort of matchroom fighters on that card. I don't know. And obviously, what was the other thing I was going to say? Yeah, I'm not convinced it quite does as big as you think, Fury and Whyte, but maybe with push and stuff. But I think they need. You
don't think it does? You don't think it does? You don't. Well, obviously they are going to get 1 or 2 fights before that. Let's be honest. Let's get that clear. If Whyte signs ESPN tomorrow, Fury Whyte's not the first fight they make. I'm telling you, no one should be expecting that. Making that very clear. But you don't think it does really good numbers on ESPN if it's put there, like prime time?
I just don't know what Dillian Whyte...
What the appetite is for that fight?
Yeah, what Dillian Whyte even is to an American casual, even if... Do you know what I mean? I doubt they've heard his name. I know he's fought on ESPN before. Got a 2nd or 3rd round knockout against Tan, I think it was.
Yep.
But do they even know him? Obviously, he's going to need a couple of these... quotation marks exposure fights, but does that even matter to an American? Is that exposure enough to then garner any kind of big attention? I don't know.
You want to know my thoughts on it? I think if you book Fury Whyte for June or July or whatever, like that's the first fight for both guys' deal, it is the same number with the right push. It is the same number as with a couple exposure fights. And I'm saying that as it does good numbers. I've often said this, like the right fight, the right matchup will just hit all metrics. It will just start doing numbers. Wilder Fury was sort of like that in a way. I think that was a little bit of an obvious one, but I think Whyte Fury is like that, where the second those two guys are together, it's going to catch fire. AJ Miller, I mean, I know that was, again, maybe sort of an obvious one, but I know there were some people that listened to this show, even you for a time, that sort of downplayed, well, how big can that fight really be? You know, how great of a not how great a press conference is going to be, but how much can that press conference start going trending for this matchup, right? Look at that matchup. Look at the effect it had, just the dynamic between those two guys. Fury Whyte on the ESPN machine with that, it does numbers. I think it does, no matter when it's made. Fat Apple, sure. Send me an email. Anyone wants to send me emails? That's why I put the email there, right on the screen, so you can send me emails. But Rob, back to you.
Yeah, I guess we just need more details. Obviously, more details have come out of what the Fury deal exactly is. But I'll just be interested if it's the same type of deal when the Whyte is exclusively fighting in America, or if he's completely 100% tied to ESPN. I doubt, he's going to be going anywhere, which, like you say, as history, we know networks, despite whatever they say, do find it difficult to end up working together and making the fights that the fans want. I think as well, history's kind of shown us that we do maybe get the fights eventually, but are they at their best when we thought we really wanted that fight? Probably not. You know, obviously Mayweather Pacquiao is a prime example where they eventually did work together. But was it
Tyson Lewis? Tyson Lewis obviously is another one.
Yeah, yeah. So we maybe do get the fights we want, but are they going to be of the sort of standard that we wanted? When we wanted them, they were hot, and we wanted to see them there and then. And that's when we wanted these networks to work together. Don't take 6 years doing it and leaving us a bit sort of like, it's not quite. When we wanted it, it would have done a shit ton of numbers. You guys fucked up, you know? So
that's the funny part is that every time they've done that, the numbers are historically the best numbers ever.
Yeah, true.
You know what I mean? Like when Tyson and Lennox Lewis happened in 2002, I believe at the time that had set the record for pay-per-view buys in the U.S. at 2.2 million pay-per-view buys. And then I think Mayweather, Oscar De La Hoya beat that in 2005, 2006 with like 2.4 million buys. And I want to say like when Sugar Ray Leonard and Marvin Hagler fought, that did historically really great numbers at the time. And they had fought way past their prime. You know, I think like Leonard even came out of retirement, if I'm not mistaken. Like Leonard was bald as shit. Like that was just a bad fight. But I mean, again, like historically speaking, when these fights quote marinate for all this time, these promoters turn out to maybe be right. And also, we don't know. We don't know potentially. But hey, I mean, every time we've had those big fights that don't happen until years after their prime, they hit record highs every time.
Yeah, well, I don't know how much longer Bob. I don't know how longer Bob can marinate something. He might not see that fight if he's going to marinate too long.
Damn,
I'm just saying.
Morbid.
Hang on, I got a soundbite for that.
You're trying to kill me.
You're trying to kill me. No, but yeah, we'll see.
Use your common sense.
Shout out R. Kelly dropping sound bites everywhere.
Shout out to dirty, despicable ass R. Kelly for at least giving us some good sound bites to laugh at him.
Well, yeah, when I said shout him out.
I mean, I just want to put that in context there, that shout out.
Let me go on the record as to explaining that shout out purely for soundbite YouTube entertainment reasons. It's obviously.
Anyways, let's get to this Deontay Wilder, Breazeale quote news. Lance Progmeyer saying, reporting about 8 a.m. this morning, saying talks making progress for Deontay Wilder, Dominic Breazeale, May 18th, deal expected within week, I am told. That was quickly followed by the WBC making a full-on statement about what they're doing. And I will say this. I'm not going to read this at all because I'm just going to scroll it. So the YouTube audience can see how long this shit is. And by the way, anyone out there listening, we're going to cover the fights tomorrow. Not tomorrow. Friday. Tomorrow's my birthday and my son's having surgery. Worst timing for surgery. But, yeah, no show tomorrow, by the way. But Friday, we're going to break down all the fights. Sorry for the late notice preview show. But anyways, I'm digressing to this whole bullshit. Yeah, I'm not going to read this because basically all it tells us is, hey, everything that Lance is telling us, hey, this fight's happening and it's being ordered, it's happening. And there's sort of, Rob, how do you want to phrase it? Like them trying to excuse this clusterfuck is just them telling us the chronological events of the clusterfuck, and that's not really explaining anything. So
they're basically saying, yes, we ordered Breazeale and Whyte to fight for the eliminator to find out the mandatory who will face the winner of Wilder Fury, but we didn't get a winner of Wilder Fury, so we're going back to 2017 or whenever it was, fucking a long time ago.
2017.
When Breazeale fought Eric fucking Molina to get the mandatory position. So they're standing by their order from fucking 2017 or whatever it was.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
And also, like, we knew this was happening.
Overplay that. You're gonna.
I'm going to overplay the hell out of that. Oh yes.
While it's current.
While it's current, yes. Hashtag trending now. But anyways, I mean, this isn't really news to me because I think this is obvious. Especially with this Whyte announcement, it's even more obvious that this is just the route they are taking. The heavyweight division is figuring itself out in the next few weeks. Obviously, AJ Miller's made. Pulev is fighting in March. Ortiz just fought, but he looks like shit, so he's not going to get a big fight next, let's be honest. They're going to make this mandatory fight with Wilder. God, I would assume Dillian Whyte and Tyson Fury both get relative tune-ups next. And hopefully the winners of these fights we're talking about end up fighting each other this year, next year, when they feel like it, obviously.
Well, this is optimistic, Matt.
Man.
I like it.
That was optimism?
Yeah, maybe we get it this year. You haven't noticed? You're crazy. Nah.
We could get a Fury Whyte fight this year.
Fury Whyte?
Yeah, if they're on ESPN, if they're both on ESPN, yeah.
That's obviously more likely because they're on the same network, but I don't know.
Yeah, I stopped betting money on Wilder and AJ happening because it's lose every fucking time. every goddamn time. But anyways,
Brewe's just been like, keep it coming.
keep it coming. I will say this again. I stated it earlier in the show. The one silver lining in this news is that we're finally gonna get this over with. Like, this has been happening for 2 years, Rob. Like you mentioned, like 2017, we've been talking about Dominic Breazeale being the mandatory for 2 years. 2 years. I'm ready for that storyline to be over with. I'm ready for us to stop talking about Dominic Breazeale being with these guys and fighting with these guys. He is not an elite competitor. I think Deontay Wilder, he could lose every round to slow-ass Breazeale, and he might, and he's still going to knock him out whenever he decides to throw that right hand and land it. I don't care about this fight. I'm glad it's getting over with, and we can move on to greener pastures and better outcomes, better matchups, etc. Rob, any thoughts on Wilder Breazeale being ordered / they're in talks? It should be announced within the week. Blah, 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 blah.
Well, to me, that suggests this was already going to be the fight anyway. And then the WBC said, all right, we'll have some more of that. So, they've put their stamp of approval on it.
I think the WBC loves to be in headlines, right?
Oh, yeah, they got the diamond belt for Spence Garcia.
Oh, did you see what they gave Canelo? What was it?
Yeah, he's like their face of the
no.
franchise fighter,
franchise champion,
alarm bells,
whatever
franchise.
That means.
What kind of what? No, you're a governing body. You're not a franchise, which suggests I know you are a business because obviously you're making sanctioning fees, but. The minute you hear franchise fight, that's alarm bells go up for me. That's purely money making.
I miss when Canelo told him to F off. That was amazing. That was
and since then it's back into the absolute hill, even through the clenbuterol thing, without any information whatsoever. They back him 100% purely because he said, "No, man, I had a dirty taco."
Well, I mean, there was a lot of evidence to support that. But anyways,
not at the time. I think when it came out, it was just literally he popped for it, and they were like, "Yeah, but we back him 100%." Canelo, we love you. We love you. Don't forget, we love you.
Well, of course. I mean, if anyone thinks the clean boxing program is legit, you're fooling yourself, man. You're completely fooling yourself.
But more on this is first of all, Whyte has been on record saying if this what has happened happens. He's going to sue the WBC because his fight with Breazeale was ordered before they ordered the rematch with Wilder and Fury for that rematch. So he's basically saying if he fights him now, this should be a voluntary and not a mandatory, and therefore I should be placed as the WBC mandatory. So again, we'll wait and see what happens there. I don't think the WBC haven't even mentioned Dillian Whyte, so. Maybe take that as a hint, Dillian. You're not.
Dylan. You're not getting the fight. You're not the mandatory. I feel like that's just it's. Let's just move on. Can we just move on, please?
But
not like this conversation. Just like as a sport, can we just move on from this bullshit, please? Make the fights.
I sort of feel his pain. He's constantly been number one in the rankings, and it's like
I don't feel his pain. He's going to go count all those checks from ESPN.
Oh, no. I just mean in regards of how he's been treated by the WBC. I think it's been pretty rough. But on another note,
get in line with everyone else that's been screwed by the sanctioning bodies.
Oh yeah, for sure. But if I'm Dominic Breazeale, and at the risk of sounding like Eddie Hearn, wouldn't he be beneficial for him to dig his heels in now? Now it's been ordered. Before, when they were negotiating, and Lance Pugmire tweeted, initial things of, signs that we're going to hear this next week. But then the WBC ordered it, and I said to Lance,
Lance.
Now it's been ordered. I said, especially now it's been ordered, ? And then he done a tweet after that and said, now the WBC have ordered it, but as reported, the deal is close to being finalized and this, that, and the other. But now it's been ordered, isn't it maybe good for Breazeale to say, oh, maybe I sit back. Maybe I let this go to purse bids. I'm sure they'll reach a deal. I'm just saying, but wouldn't it give him a bigger chunk for his 35% or whatever it is for WBC mandatory?
25. I think it's 25.
25, whatever. Wouldn't he be better to sit tight and watch it? Because everyone seems to want Deontay Wilder on their platform right now. How much are they going to willing to pay? And if Wilder says, "Well, I'm not working with Eddie Hearn. He won the purse bid. Fuck that." Is he going to vacate his belt? I don't know. He loves that belt. So I don't know. Just wonder if Dominic Breazeale is in some kind of position now where he could maybe make more out of his 25% than just doing an in-house deal.
Yes,
but I'm sure they'll still make the deal. But...
Yes. I mean, that's like the short story. Yes, he does. Does he do that? Probably not. Like you said, he probably is going to make the deal and it's going to be made in-house and no purse bid is going to be reached. But then again, we said that about Fury. But at least this one is truly in-house. So, no, I don't think we get a purse bid-like situation. I don't think this fight goes to DAZN. And let's say even in a hypothetical world where it does go to purse bid and Breazeale actually does use his leverage to do that and try to sort of raise the overall purse that they split, and this does go to DAZN or ESPN or whoever picks it up, I don't think Wilder vacates the belt. I know that's been a talking point, not necessarily by you, but by other people. Wilder would vacate his belt if he's being forced to go to DAZN. No, he wouldn't. I mean, I know a lot of people think Wilder's stupid, but come on.
Well, let's like I say, let's see how principled you are.
I don't think he's principled about it, but I don't think he's. I think he's savvy enough to understand that that's leverage. And plus, for this fight, he wouldn't do that. I don't think so. And also, he's not in the Peter Quillen situation, where the mandatory was a separate fighter, not in house. On top of that, it was talked about he was supposed to get a bigger fight at the time, and right now that's not really on the line. There's no bigger fight out there. Let's say if the option is, hey, either go sign for an AJ fight right now, he goes fight AJ next. And let's say AJ doesn't have a fight scheduled, and that's on the table, or this Breazeale fight, or he gets stripped. I can see why he would do that. But right now, the timing is off. So he's just, again, it doesn't happen in the hypothetical situation because I don't think this fight ever goes to purse bids. But if it was and it goes to a different network, Wilder does not vacate. I don't know why, again, that talking point's even been put out there by a lot of people. It doesn't make sense to me. But digressing from that, because, again, I have little to no other thoughts about this topic because, again, we've known this for a while. It's a pretty obvious fight to pick. Any sort of rapid thoughts about this?
Yeah, do you think they dropped the price for the pay-per-view?
This isn't pay-per-view.
I don't know. We'll see.
This isn't pay-per-view.
No, I think this will be Fox, if anything. On the... You don't?
I think this is Showtime.
I think it's better on Fox. Massive exposure.
Well, no. It absolutely does better on Fox. That's without a question. Right? He's done $3 million plus on NBC. Fox is obviously a bigger viewer base. It's a bigger exposure, but I think Showtime's going to give him more money. Because they have more money to give him at this point. Think about the Fox schedule of the last few months and what they still have to do. That's a lot of money they've given out in this first quarter and a half. I would assume, we've talked about this before, because Showtime doesn't really have a lot so far in the schedule. The second quarter of this year is going to have a lot of Showtime content. One of them being is Wilder Breazeale. I think that's just a guarantee to happen on Showtime. Because, again, I think if we were going to have a Wilder Fury 2, that was going to be a Showtime pay-per-view. I know it was talked about to be a Fox pay-per-view, but that was always leaning towards a Showtime pay-per-view. Wilder's going to be on Showtime against Breazeale for a lot of reasons. One of them being, or a few of them being, the lack of schedule and the needed schedule for Showtime, and that meaning they have money to spend because they haven't spent it on a Garcia fight. They haven't spent it on a Porter fight, a Thurman fight, Earl Spence fight. Think about that. Think about all those big fighters that usually Showtime spends a lot of money on. They didn't spend a dime on any of them in this first quarter. That means they have money to spend on Wilder. So I think that's the obvious point. Even though, like you said, Fox is the bigger exposure. But I think in just terms of, scheduling, so to speak, that just does not happen. Even though I would like that to happen. It just does not happen. Was that sort of the last thought about this fight, this matchup? We do have a lot more heavyweight news to get to, actually.
Yeah, we can move on. That's fine.
Let's go to, Rob, you asked me this, I think it was yesterday, right? About the boogeyman of the division, about Ortiz not being the boogeyman anymore, right? And who is the boogeyman? I think you know where I'm going with this, right? You like the segue. I think the new boogeyman of the division is Wladimir Klitschko. Yes, I said that, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, Wladimir Klitschko is the boogeyman of the heavyweight division. Not in the same way that, Ortiz was, right? But the Klitschko, phantom or ghost is hanging over boxing, it seems, right? Every couple weeks, I've seen articles about Klitschko coming back to boxing. Literally every couple weeks, there's a new article from some website, and this is World Boxing News, so it's not like it's a bad website. It's a pretty decent website. And talking about Klitschko considering a DAZN deal. When the deal's up, he will become a brand ambassador. Obviously, DAZN Germany is a huge part of their revenue globally. Obviously, Klitschko being a massive German star, even though he's Ukrainian, but he's a massive star in Germany. This makes sense, but we've talked about this for literally months now. And again, it seems like that ghost, that specter is hanging over the division, and all these networks are just waiting. Oh, is Klitschko coming back? And I think even some of these fighters are too. I think a Fury is sort of waiting, is it Klitschko coming back? I think AJ is waiting for that in a sense, maybe not waiting in the fullest definition of the word, but again, it just seems like there's this hanging shadow over the division about hey, what's Klitschko doing? And I don't know if any of it's true. We've yet to hear a single word from him, I feel like, right? None of it's quotes from him. And again, I'm not questioning the reporting. I'm just saying how legit, how full, how serious is this deal? How seriously is he considering this deal? I don't doubt DAZN has offered him money. I don't doubt PBC or ESPN has offered him something. I don't doubt that. But how seriously is he considering that? Rob, I'll swing it over to you. How seriously are you taking this sort of resurgent Klitschko headline of considering this DAZN deal and becoming a brand ambassador to DAZN?
I think he is seriously considering it. I think I don't think DAZN would have just out of the blue, right? Who can we send an offer to? I think there would have been some initial kind of testing the waters and just seeing, and maybe, and apparently, I think DAZN made some, or part of it is some kind of sizable donation to his charity as well as part of the potential deal. But I mean, Eddie Hearn on that same AB Boxing News or whatever it was, he kind of went a little coy on it, and so I don't want to go into it too much. I don't want to talk about it too much. He sort of went, it was a little bit like, oh, there's something in it. There's definitely something in this. So, I mean, but talk about a Fury rematch, and I don't see a Fury rematch happening. because of where Fury's now landed, and he's obviously going to be signing with DAZN. So I don't see a Fury rematch being that possible. Obviously the AJ one's there, but I'm not massively stoked about seeing that. But I think he's considering it because I think he's a competitor. I think going out how he did probably isn't sitting too well with him, but we'll see. It would just be interesting. It'll be interesting. And like you say, DAZN Germany would be massive. I believe they've got something like 11 million subscribers, I read somewhere.
In Germany?
Yeah, something like that. So, I mean, like you say, he's a huge star over there, held all those big fights over there. He would be, we've seen obviously DAZN pick up Ronaldo as a brand ambassador in Italy. We've got Neymar, who's in the Spanish football obviously Brazilian soccer player.
Football player. Come on, man.
I was just catering to...
most of our audience is from the UK. You don't have to cater to us.
All right. Football player. I believe Mourinho. They done a tweet. Jose Mourinho, the football manager.
They got him, really?
Every great team needs a manager or something. Even though, like, Man United just got rid of him for being shit. Yeah, so Wladimir, the face for Germany, makes sense. So yeah. I don't know. We'll see, but it's interesting.
Yeah, the funny part is it does make total sense that if Klitschko is coming back, it's on DAZN. It's through this sort of path. The AJ rematch is there. Again, if Klitschko comes back, I think this story all of a sudden makes sense, right? But I have yet to hear Klitschko at any point come out to the media and say, yes, I am considering X, Y, and Z. I mean, have you heard that, Rob? Have you seen any quotes from Klitschko in particular? Am I imagining that?
Not actual quotes.
Yeah,
no.
okay.
I mean, World Boxing News said he's considering it. How they know that?
But no, I'm not even talking about this individual article. I'm just talking about throughout the last few months, he has not come out any point and said, "Yeah, I'm considering coming back."
No, I mean, I went all conspiracy theory that he was at an airport and was like, he's on his way to America. He's going to sign the deal. We're going to hear an announcement this week.
You were hyped on that conspiracy. I remember that. That was good.
I'm right. Fuck, I'm good. I spotted this. I thought I'd just go over to Vladimir.
And if you're wrong, no one's going to remember it in a week. Yeah, so I'm good.
Unless I bring it up again.
Like now.
Yeah. I think it's interesting that he's, 41, 42.
He's old.
Coming back. And no one's really said, well, I haven't. And I haven't really thought about it, but fuck off. You're old. Just stay away. I'm kind of like, oh, that'd be interesting. It's not because he stays in shape. He's a fit guy. Keeps himself good, and I think it's not made me go, oh god,
Well, no, I mean Klitschko comes back. Sorry, I think we both probably agree that Klitschko could come back right now and beat a lot of the guys in the heavyweight top 15, right?
I think so. Or he'd be in good fights anyway.
Yeah. So, oh man, crazier things have happened. I'm not saying he shouldn't come back. Just I don't know if he really does want to come back. It's hard to keep believing this months and months later when nothing has come out. He hasn't come out and said anything. His team haven't come out and said anything on the official record. It just starts becoming a little bit of the boy crying wolf in a way. And I don't know if it's just... Maybe it's the net, DAZN sends the offer, right? And DAZN's the one that leaking this information out. You know what I mean, Rob? Trying to not force Klitschko, but add public pressure. I could see that happening. But anyways, digressing. I think Klitschko coming back would equal a lot of good matchups, a lot of fun fights. I just don't know if it's legitimately something that he is considering yet, and something that I really want to hear him speak on. But let's stay on this sort of division for a period of time. Just very briefly, Murat Gassiev, I don't have this up, so I'm sorry I don't have I think it was Mike Kopmincher is the one that came out and reported this first, right? Saying that, right? It was Kopmincher?
Yeah, I was just saying, I think it is. I think it was.
Saying that Gassiev is about to sign a deal with DAZN and Matchroom and move to heavyweight. Rob, since you are the resident, Mr. DAZN, Mr. Matchroom, your thoughts on Murat Gassiev sort of joining the ranks, joining the stable of DAZN, Matchroom, and the heavyweight division?
Yeah, no, I think it's like a hardcore signing, like you kind of said earlier. I don't think it's not a subscription builder in the US model anyway. But depending how they move him along, I think he'll be in some good fights. Obviously, he lost to Usyk at cruiserweight. Is this a potential down the line sort of rematch, but at heavyweight? I'm sure it's probably in the plans. And very quickly on Usyk, looks like Povetkin doesn't want the fight straight away, and it's looking like it might be Povetkin Takam, which not
Povetkin Takam or Usyk Takam?
Usyk Takam, sorry, yeah, Usyk Takam.
Actually, I don't know about that one.
Oh, come on, it's not horrendous, but it's Usyk making his heavyweight debut against Takam. That's not bad.
Relax. I had that queued up just for the Povetkin dropping out, and then you brought in Takam. I'm like, I still got to play it. I don't know which fight I like more. Like, I've always thought Takam's been a little bit of an underrated guy, but Povetkin obviously has more of the pedigree than the two. I'm not mad about it. You know what I mean? Like, Takam's gonna be a fun fight. I think it really is.
What about why has Povetkin pulled out of this happening? Is he maybe got Bob's eye? Is he we gonna get the Dillian Whyte Povetkin fight? Dillian Whyte Povetkin fight maybe still?
I would say this though. Hey, I know you're completely spitballing here, but if Bob Arum is able to land Fury, White, and Povetkin all in the span of a month, that is quite impressive.
Apparently, the high echelons of ESPN have basically told them we want some interest in the heavyweight division on the channel.
I'm not surprised. Heavyweight's booming right now. Like,
of course, yeah.
I would argue heavyweight's the most lucrative division in the sport right now.
And let's be honest, it's not like Bob could have said, "What are you talking about? We got Brian Jennings, we got Oscar. Come on,
we just got Oscar, guys. It's our new Oscar."
Bob. Here's $400 million,
and here's some more.
Your shit out.
Here's some more Vegas weed. Just sit down, let Todd DeBuff handle shit, please.
I mean, look, on my conspiracy as far as Povetkin, I believe there is some kind of, I don't know if it's a deal or anything in paper, but with sort of Matchroom and Eddie, and I think World of Boxing have done some kind of thing with DAZN. So whether I could be way off the mark, but it was just a little bit of a, maybe we'll get the White Povetkin fight that was originally planned for April 20th, which then fell out because of this, that, and the other, and whatever. But maybe we gone full circle and we still get that fight on ESPN. But it's just an idea.
Circling back to Gassiev, I think it's a good pickup again. He's a young guy. I think he's like 24, 25 years old. Even though he looks like he's almost 40. The guy is super young, an extreme talent. I know he probably put on one of the most disappointing performances of the year last year against Alexander Usyk. If you want to go check out anything about that, go check out our MCR Award Show. I forgot to even plug that at the beginning. I thought about that. I was like, I need to plug the MCR Award Show because, I slaved over that for at least 4 hours. And it only has 80 views. So everyone listening right now, go listen to the award show I did yesterday. Go do that. Check out our Prospect of the Year, Story of the Year, Fighter of the Year, Fight of the Year, and Story of the Year, and all of the winners of those awards. Go check it out. I enjoyed it. I hope Rob enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it, Rob?
I did. Thank you. I ignored the comment in there.
I mean, he got me. And you know what's so funny? I clicked publish, and I was still listening to it, right? Because no one Fu is okay. Totally rabbit hole here, guys. I do apologize. Fugatti is one of the worst people when it comes hey, here's the thing. I want you to give me some constructive criticism. I want you to edit it, right? I want you to sort of review it. Because he's just it looks great, man. with like 1 billion exclamation points and like smiley emojis, and it's like,
Oh,
bro,
man. Good job.
good job, fella.
Hey, fella.
It's like, bro, like I just want you to tell me, like, did I spell something wrong? Or like, did I get an edit wrong here or there? Like, that's what I care about, not whether you like the flow or not. And for God's sake, stop adding so many unnecessary exclamation points. It's phony. Like, you're not actually that excited in real life, Fu. We hear you on the show. Fu is never that excited in real life as he is over text, okay? Anyways, digressing. Love you, Fugatti, when you listen to this and you're going to be texting us all pissed off.
But obviously, listen to the award show.
Yes, go do that.
Favorite fighter that picked up an award.
Hey, I mean, maybe we have our first 2-time award winner on our first annual show. Maybe that happened. It might be a little bit controversial. I don't know. Go leave a comment.
Patreons voted for it, right?
What?
The Patreons voted for it,
Not
right?
just the Patreons. Those posts were open to the public.
Oh,
just like the championship rounds and trending now posts. Thank you for reminding me there, Rob. That are open to the public right now. Go over to patreon.com/Mixed Combat Radio to go leave a topic and question that gets discussed on Patreon. And again, you can go leave a question that I have to discuss, Fugatti has to discuss live on the show, no matter what, if it's written down on Patreon. And again, you do not have to be a Patreon member to go leave those comments and topics. But anyways, back to the boxing news of the day. Quick little announcement about Gennady Golovkin. And again, I'm using the word announcement highly, highly loosely here. First, Dan Rayfield basically said, hey, nothing's imminent. Cool. Bad left hook also sort of pitching, sort of adding to it, saying Golovkin to DAZN reportedly having trouble finalizing deal. So again, announcing news of, hey, news is not going to be announced. I don't need to hear that, Dan.
Just an update.
No update. Cool, guys. Awesome. Speaking of awesome, again, just last topic, I want to wrap it up, then get your thoughts, then go to callers, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you're international, call in on the Skype machine, add Mixed Combat Radio on Skype. But Gilberto Ramirez, what the fuck are you doing, dude?
You said, speaking of awesome, I thought you were going to say something about me. But
did I say speaking of awesome?
Yeah. Before that.
I obviously meant that in the highest level of irony. But anyway, Gilberto Ramirez fighting Tommy Karpinski, one of Pittsburgh Brew's good friends. Shout out to Pittsburgh Brew, in a tune-up light heavyweight one-off fight. I really, really don't care about this. And I'll be honest, Gilberto Ramirez is one of the most frustrating champions in the sport. I will even go on the ledge and say that he is more frustrating than Gervonta Davis. Yes, I said it. I know, that is shocking. But I will gladly argue that until I feel like I'm tired of arguing it, then I might concede. But anyways, yeah, Gilberto Ramirez wasting a career. It's depressing. Go fight people that are relevant. Rob, any last thoughts on the no update of Triple G or Gilberto Ramirez taking this tune-up at 175?
None whatsoever.
Awesome. That's how I like it, Rob. See, and it's okay not to have an opinion, guys. All the listeners out there, it's okay to not care about things in this sport. I want that to be more acceptable.
I think he should just be stripped, Gilberto. He should have just been stripped. If you've got no intention of unifying the division, then don't even fight for a belt. Just leave it behind.
And he's talented. That's the sad part, man. Sad part.
Well, yeah, but...
Sad.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Let's go to callers. Again, 323-870-4051. Press 1 to get in the queue. If you're international, call in on Skype, Mixed Combat Radio. Going out to Gary in Dallas. Gary, how you doing?
Fight for a battle.
Hello?
Gary?
What the fuck was that?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I had a delay. I was listening to it on my laptop. Yeah. You can hear me okay now?
Yes, we hear you fine.
Okay.
Okay.
What's the weather like, Gary?
What's going on, Rob?
What's the weather like, mate? Hot enough for a lemonade?
But I don't know what this correlates to. What's 60 degrees in
Celsius?
Is it hot? Have you got a nice glass of lemonade?
I would not say 60 degrees. It's moderate for the winter.
It's not cold. It's not hot. It's if there's a wind, it might be chilly.
This is the longest way round of me asking if he's got a nice glass of lemonade or lemon juice. That's a throwback to
Boxing banter, right? That was banter.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Where we're all of a sudden, everyone that is a U.S. listener on Patreon realized, oh shit, you guys in the UK think lemonade is carbonated lemon juice. Weirdos. Anyways.
Sorry, I'll just take a soda.
No, Coke.
Okay,
it's just a Coke. That's what you
yeah,
call
that's right.
sodas. It's just Coke, okay?
We're in Texas now. Sorry, I
We're in
forgot.
back to Gary.
Any type of cola. Yeah, I love to hear any type of cola is Coke. That's right. So if you want any type of cola, Pepsi, Dr. Pepper, RC Cola, that's all just Coke. Okay, yeah. Can we talk boxing? Let's talk some boxing.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's a good idea, right? Dillian Whyte. This had to happen with him. I mean, the fact that Eddie Hearn couldn't get him a title shot after all those wins, he had to leave. I can't believe he stayed with him as long as he did. That being said, this seems weird because Top Rank, ESPN doesn't have any heavyweight champs. So it seems weird, right? They have Fury, but Fury doesn't have a belt. So he's not any closer to fighting one of the champions. So I understand that he had to make a move. This move seems weird if his goal was to become a heavyweight champ.
Yeah,
right?
no, I
It
agree.
seems like if it's just about the money, Eddie Hearn could have, and I don't know for sure, but you would think Eddie could have matched the money that ESPN gave him, right? Or got close to it. So that tells me
it's just strange that DAZN don't seem to have any interest.
Well, I don't think they have matching rights though. I think that's like the fundamental thing. That's the difference here. Like, if Wilder was trying to go to a DAZN or ESPN, I believe from what's been said and what's been alluded, like Showtime has some matching rights to that. Same with like DAZN for AJ. AJ technically is on one fight deals with DAZN, but they still have matching rights. I don't think that's the same with Dillian Whyte.
From White's perspective, if Bob Arum offered him X amount of dollars, Whyte could have went back to Eddie Hearn and said, "Hey, they're offering me this. I want to stay with you. If you can offer me this, I'll stay." Because ultimately, I want to fight Josh.
No, that's possible. That's possible. But again, I thought you meant matching in terms of like the actual like legal contractual matching clause. There's nothing like that with Eddie and Whyte, from my knowledge. But could Whyte, or does Whyte, or is Whyte doing that? Potentially. I mean, obviously this deal is not made yet. It's not done yet. So maybe that does happen. Maybe that does that situation does unfold where Whyte does take this offer to Eddie and Eddie matches it and sort of appeases Dillian Whyte. But again, from what our knowledge is also that DAZN was not really interested in Dillian Whyte.
Yeah, that seems weird though. But okay, I mean, I believe it. It's just that seems like a guy that they would be interested in. So, do you don't think that he's going to fight? White's going to fight Fury next, right? You think they're each going to have a fight before that's even discussed?
See.
Okay. So then, who is Whyte going to fight? Rivas? Like, it doesn't seem like this is the same conversation we had about Fury. There doesn't seem to be any lucrative options or anything that's of interest for him. So this just seems really, really strange. This move sounds, unless you think Arum But isn't he already the mandatory for the WBO?
Who?
Isn't Whyte already the mandatory?
I don't think he's the
Dillian
mandatory.
Whyte.
I do not think he's the mandatory of
Is
the
he
WBO.
not?
I do not think so.
Again,
Okay.
I think he's number one, but it hasn't been
He's number one,
called.
but he
As we
hasn't
know,
been
the
mandated.
number one in the rankings doesn't necessarily get given mandatory status. So.
And we know that Bob Arum has the WBO in his back pocket. Do you think he's going that avenue to get that mandatory called?
To try and get Joshua
Right,
on
the way
ESPN.
Potentially.
Try to get.
Potentially.
Okay. The other heavyweights. Wilder versus Breazeale. Now, I think I can't be mad at Wilder. This is not Wilder's fault. Wilder wants to keep his belt. He has to fight Breazeale. But my God, really? We're really going to get this? And this is just a bad look. Didn't the WBC order Breazeale to fight Whyte like a month ago?
Yep.
They
ordered that before they ordered.
They
ordered that before they ordered the Wilder Fury rematch.
No, that's not true, Rob. No, they ordered the Fury Wilder rematch first. Remember, and then it fell apart.
It did.
No, they definitely ordered the Wilder Fury rematch first. Then they ordered the Whyte Breazeale interim champion or something like that. No, that's I'm telling you, Rob. I remember us doing the shows. And also, I think that's beside the point. It doesn't really matter which one's the chicken, which one's the egg. Gary, you're basically asking, like, why is that now non-effect? Because the WBC decided it's non-effect. That's why.
Right, which is okay. Right. So basically, when you would agree that whenever Tyson Fury says, "I want to fight Deontay Wilder now," they'll make that fight and they'll mandate that fight like they did before. So basically, Tyson Fury runs the WBC. He's up at least the heavyweight division. You know, he's upended all of it. He was supposed to fight Wilder. He said no. Whyte was supposed to fight Breazeale. Now that's not going to happen. So Tyson Fury is basically Solomon's daddy. Right? He tells him what it's going to be. I don't know how you do that as an organization. If I was in WBC, I would drop Fury from my rankings. I gave him every chance to go to purse bids. He didn't want to do it, so he doesn't get a shot. I don't know how you let Fury dictate everything to you.
It's not that Fury dictated. It's that Fury sort of forced their hand.
Okay, then there's going to be. I mean, if they did that to you, I mean, if you were Solomon, right, and you sent this to purse bids and you postponed it twice because he said, "Oh, we're almost there. We just need to iron out some details and we'll come to an agreement on our own." And then he signs a deal with Top Rank and says, I'm not going to fight Wilder at all. Why would you ever work with that guy again? He lied to you every step of the way.
Because he represents money. Because he represents money. Isn't that obvious? That's why we can sit there and watch Eddie and Steven Espinoza shit on each other every chance they take. Guess what? When push comes and shove and they need to make that Wilder AJ fight, guess what? Steven Espinoza and Eddie Hearn are going to work together. You know, these beefs in the sport, usually it does not preclude people from making money. And if a Tyson Fury sort of dick them around a little bit, is the WBC going to tell Fury to fuck off? No. Canelo Alvarez literally told them, not literally, but I mean, paraphrasing, he said fuck off to the WBC. And they begged him to let them back in his good graces. No, come on. The sanctioning bodies were always bow down to the moneymakers, and Fury is one of the moneymakers.
Yeah, I just don't know how you can have any respect for your organization, for your brand.
They don't.
If you let someone
they don't
push you around, if you let Tyson, okay, well then it is what it is.
What's 3% of 20 million? What's 3% of 20 million?
Well, 600,000.
Yeah, okay.
Is that right?
You have 600,000 reasons why they will let Fury stay in the rankings. they will say, okay, Fury, Mr. Fury, you go do whatever you want to do. We're going to go make the Breazeale fight instead.
Gary could have said any number then, and you'd have just ran with it, Matt.
Absolutely. I have no idea if that's actually 3%. I have no idea if that's actually 3%,
Yeah.
but it sounds right.
Close enough.
Sure.
I bet you I'm at least in the ballpark. I'm not way off. I'll bet that.
Gary knew you wouldn't know as well. That's why he just said a number.
Fuck no. But Gary, I mean, again, like you expect a lot from the sanctioning bodies. I think it's time that we disavow and sort of boycott the sanctioning bodies. Like I'll be honest, like that's what it's going to need to take. It's going to need the fighters to also do that as well to ultimately have some sort of effect. But I don't think us as media, I don't think us as consumers should ever bend. It was right, 600,000. Thank you for the calculator there, Rob. I don't think us as like media and or fans should care, discuss, promote, whatever, the garbage that is sanctioning bodies. Fuck them all. I don't think we need them to decide who's the best guy in the division. I think we fundamentally do not need those belts.
No, we don't. But it should be like a guide, an assistant to help getting the best fight, right? Like,
absolutely.
If we want to see, and it's not, it's a hindrance, right? Like, why has Wilder not fought Breazeale yet? Breazeale has been the mandatory for 2 years. If they think Breazeale is the best heavyweight in their rankings, then they should have made that fight, right? Like, why has Charlo not had to fight Canelo yet? If they think Charlo is the best middleweight in their rankings, why does Canelo not have to fight Charlo? None of this really makes any sense. It's like I feel like the sanctioning bodies get us further away from the best fights. And how the IPF could ever think Carlos Ocampo is the best welterweight in their rankings is beyond me, right? So that's a waste of a fight. So, like, why would they do that? Like, why would they mandate you fight Ocampo? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, how somehow they came up with a formula or an idea that Carlos Ocampo or Dominic Breazeale is the best fighter in their weight class, and we need to mandate that fight, blows my mind.
Gary, I mean, I know it blows your mind and you don't understand it, and or at least you say that, but I think you do. And just to reiterate it for people listening that maybe actually legitimately do not understand it, when these sanctioning bodies literally collect a check from every fighter's purse, they are directly monetarily linked to these fighters' success. They will make sure that these fighters are happy, all of them, because each and every one of them makes them money. And that's why sanctioning bodies do what they do. And until the monetary connection is severed between the sanctioning body and a promoter and or fighter, then this issue will always be an issue. It will never go away. As long as the money is connected, we will always get these situations. It's unfortunate, but hell, it's what we have.
So let me try this one, right?
Use your common sense.
If you're
Thank you, Rob.
If you're saying it's just about the money, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
Wilder represents an earner. He's a big earner. What if he says to the WBC, no, I'm not going to fight Breazeale. I want to fight Ortiz again, or I want to fight Kawaki, or whatever. Does the WBC go along? Do they oblige and say, okay?
Yes. Yes. I think honestly, Gary, I don't think that happens, but if push came to shove, yes, that would absolutely 100% happen. Without a doubt.
Okay. I mean, if the WBC goes along with it, then whatever. I mean, they have absolutely
I'll put it this way, Gary.
no control.
Obviously, Wilder is not this person, but when was the last time you remember Mayweather fighting a mandatory?
Yeah, I can't even think of any. I mean, I really can't.
And again, I know Wilder is significantly less of a draw than Mayweather. I know that. But Wilder represents a massive amount of money in the heavyweight division. If you don't think that, you're just, again, let's use the soundbite, Rob. Hold on, where's it at? Let me pop it up. I got it.
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Okay, Wilder represents a lot of fucking money in the division. So the WBC is going to allow and do whatever he wants.
No, I mean, I agree. I guess I was just, so why, because you don't think a Breazeale fight, a Wilder Breazeale fight, will be a pay-per-view fight, right? That'll be a regular Showtime fight.
Yeah.
An Ortiz fight would be a pay-per-view fight, wouldn't it? He would make more money on an Ortiz fight.
I think they would risk it. Yes, I think if we get a Wilder Ortiz 2 fight, it would have been pay-per-view. Do they? When you say do they make more money off of it? Do you talk about the sanctioning bodies? I don't know if they do or not in that situation. Assumingly they do, but because in theory the fighters are making more money in a pay-per-view fight. I don't know, but again, this is another thing we have to think about, Gary, is that the sanctioning bodies and the people in charge of these sanctioning bodies are not the smartest people. I know this is a wild concept for people, but I'll be honest, Mauricio Sulaiman, look, I mean, he's never going to sponsor us or sponsor any of our parties like some other YouTube channels. So I don't give a shit about saying this. Mauricio Sulaiman doesn't really come off to me like the smartest individual. To me, he comes off as a product of nepotism. His dad ran the business or he runs the business. And do I think he's really thinking, which fights can make me the most money, and being super greedy and maniacal in that way and then forcing these fights? No, I don't think he's that smart at all. I think they think a half a step ahead of everything. And that's why we get a lot of reactive measures by sanctioning bodies, because they're not thinking ahead. They're part of the grift, but they're not really the grifters, if that makes sense. Like, they're just a byproduct of the system that's getting some of the grifting. And I think the sanctioning bodies are predominantly led by very inept, stupid people that are greedy. So that's why we get these situations all the time.
Yeah, that's pretty well said. So it's me, and I don't think Wilder will do this because Wilder seems to, he'll fight who he's told to fight. If I were Wilder, I would say, and no offense to Dominic Breazeale, I just want a bigger purse than Dominic Breazeale. I would just say no, I'm not going to fight him. Give me a rematch with Ortiz, or give me Kawaki. I'm going to fight one of those guys. I'm not fighting Breazeale. And then you think that they would, and I'm not saying you're wrong. You could certainly be right. The WBC would oblige. So don't fight your mandatory if it's not a moneymaker. It's basically what the WBC is saying.
Yeah, I agree.
That's like a shame, but it is what it is. That's all I got.
Thank you for the call, Gary. Always appreciate it. Let's go out to 816. I know this is somebody that's called in before. I don't know who this is. Is it Brandon from South Carolina? Or is it like Zulu? I don't know. 816. Maybe it's a coup. 816. Who is this?
Hey, this is Zulu. You should know me by now, man.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Zulu. I do apologize. I do apologize. What's up, man? How you doing?
All right. Doing well. How you doing, Bob? Hanging in there?
All good. How you doing?
Rob, you have fans too. Don't worry.
Yeah, we're friends. We're all good friends. Hey, about the move that Dillian Whyte's making to ESPN, I think that's a good move for him, to be honest. I think DAZN and Eddie Hearn played with him enough. This is an example of when you just play with a guy and don't offer him anything of real substance, that he's right to move on. I like Dillian Whyte as a fighter. I think that'll do well for him, going to ESPN and getting that American exposure that he really needs. Although I think he's fought on Showtime here in America before a couple of times. But to really raise his profile in America, I think that's a good deal for him. I don't have any complaints or no objections about it. But now going to Wilder and Breazeale fight, the mandatory. All of this is Fury's fault that we're seeing this fight. I'm not in that much of objection to the fight as a lot of people are. I think it's going to be a good fight. It's maybe not the fight I want to see actually, but it's a necessary fight. He is a mandatory. why avoid him anymore? I mean, why put him to the side any longer? Let's go ahead and fight him and get it done. There's a lot of things going on in the heavyweight division right now because Jarrell Miller at least, and AJ, AJ has a rematch clause in there. In the event he loses, which I don't think he will, of course, but anything can happen in heavyweight boxing. We've been seeing some spoilers here lately. What happens if he loses and he gets tied up into a rematch? That takes us about at least to 2020 before you might see possibly AJ come out of that situation, if possible. There's a lot of things going on in the heavyweight division, so I with Wilder, I'll say go ahead and get your mandatory out the way. Wilder's always going to be a draw as long as he has the belt. I think a lot of us, Fury has no belt. Dillian Whyte has no belt. These Tyson Fury, the lineal status, he can parade that around for a while, but come on now. He has to get a belt. And Wilder does have some bargaining power, like you said, with the WBC. He's their champion. And I don't see making fights for him shouldn't be as hard as we might think because he has a belt. That's what Fury's going more for the braggadocious version of a champion without anything to really show for it. This man has a belt. So by him having a belt, you have to fight, you have to come to the champion. And all of these contenders out here, there's many contenders out here now, heavyweights seem like it, they're going to have to come to the champion. Before we see any unification, we should see some real good mix-em-ups. And even though like a lot of people complain about Luis Ortiz's performance, I think it was a decent performance, even though I wanted him to get the knockout. He convincingly won. I believe that too, that Wilder too, could happen. But I don't see Ortiz winning it. I think he's starting to take a little slip down. What do you think about it, Matt and Rob? What y'all think?
I think people don't like.
I threw a lot out there.
You did. I'll go with the last part of what you said first. Maybe help me remind me of some of the things you said earlier, or sort of questions you want from earlier, and sort of what you stated. But with Ortiz, I think why people sort of criticized his last fight was people don't like heavyweight decisions, especially sort of ho-hum decisions, one-sided affairs.
All right.
Look at AJ Tockham, AJ Parker. Look how criticized those fights were, right? Even though they weren't, historically speaking, the worst fights I've ever seen. But it's a one-sided heavyweight decision. That's not what we come for the heavyweight division, mainly speaking, especially casuals. But yeah, I would of course not mind a Wilder Ortiz rematch. It's not what I want right now. I'll be completely honest. I would like fresh matchups for both guys. I'll be honest. I would like Ortiz to go and face a AJ or Tyson Fury before he faces a Deontay Wilder in rematch. I would like that. Same with Deontay Wilder. I want him to fight those two guys before he faces a Ortiz in a rematch. We have a lot of heavyweights right now that, if matched up properly, we could all get fresh matchups and have this sort of unnamed, unspoken of tournament in the next 2 years. It's not happening. It's unlikely to happen, but we could. So in my ideal world, yes, I'm okay with Wilder Ortiz to the rematch. I think it makes sense, especially in the next year or within this year. It's still a pretty good, obviously, heavyweight title fight. Is it the one I want next for either guy, or especially after this Breazeale fight? No, not particularly. Rob, any sort of thoughts about Ortiz, Wilder? Do you want it? Are you okay with it? Etc.
I think Ortiz maybe needs to do a little more to maybe get that shot again. He had his chance, and since then he hasn't been hugely impressive. But look, like Matt said, people just don't like heavyweight decisions. I don't think people saw Christian Hammer and expected a early knockout. It was going to be an easy night's work. But these are big guys. Some of them are tough, real tough guys, and not easy to put away. I don't think many people have looked very good against Christian Hammer, to be honest.
Right.
And he basically won every round, so it's not like he, was poor. I thought he got caught a little bit too much. I think sometimes it's leveled at him that he maybe doesn't get up for some of these fights like he maybe did for the Wilder fight. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see Ortiz go and join up with a DAZN or a ESPN fairly soon. That's just my opinion. But
right.
we'll see. But I expect Showtime will want to hang on to him for another opponent for Wilder. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, I'm not completely like, oh, Ortiz is done just because he didn't knock out Christian Hammer, right? So I think he's still got some good fights.
What about from what you and Matt, from what Matt is saying here, Matt, what you're saying here about the heavy, we want to see knockouts. Of course, we know Deontay Wilder produces that, so we give him a little bit of a credit for not having the greatest style, but we know we're going to get the excitement sooner or later in the fight. But what does that put with that line of thinking that you're saying about what we want to see in heavyweights? And I'm sure that's exactly what we want to see. What does that do with Tyson Fury? Because he's not a knockout artist. He's a guy that can produce a boring fight. I think he had to really get up for that fight with Deontay Wilder because, you can't play with a puncher like that. Now, what happens if let's say Oscar Rivas or something like that, he gets in there with and just gives you a 12-round, dance and wins? Is that the kind of guy that we want to see in the heavyweight division, or we put our, sales behind, so to speak, in the heavyweight division and say, well, he's the next coming? With just based off the line of thinking that you said about what we want to see in heavyweights. I don't see Tyson Fury producing knockouts. What about you?
No, I absolutely agree. That's why I think, fundamentally speaking, Tyson Fury can't be the centerpiece of your heavyweight stable. Not because the guy isn't a good talker, not because he's not a good salesman, it's because his fights ultimately are not ones to transcend to the casual fan base. Deontay Wilder can go fight Bermain Stavern in a rematch tune-up, knock him out in one round, right? But that knockout's going viral. Fury going out and outboxing Oscar Rivas for 12 rounds isn't going viral. It just fundamentally isn't. But I think Fury is a good foil. I think, I often say, like, in that sense, like a literary sense, like he is the right guy to balance out the division from the Wilders, from the Joshuas. He is the foil to those two guys. Both guys respective golden boys of their own entities. AJ is the golden boy of the Matchroom stable, and I would say Wilder's the golden boy of the PBC stable. I'll be honest. And Fury is the guy to really be the foil to those two gentlemen. I don't think he's the centerpiece. And I think, like you probably would assume, and most of us assume here, Fury is not going to be the guy to go out and fight the Rivas, Jennings, etc. of the world and put on exciting fights that we care about. Just does not happen.
Right. I agree 100%. And we're saying that they're just looking at the heavyweight division because with the fight we do have coming up with Big Baby and AJ, or AJ and Big Baby, there can be somewhat of a not a disappointment, but somewhat of if AJ doesn't win this thing, let's just say it gets stopped. Anything can happen in heavyweight division. Headbutts or something, and Jarrell's up on the cards, supposedly, and wins the fight, or something like that. Get to that point. With a rematch clause involved in that kind of pulls everything, that kind of shakes things up real bad. What do you think would happen in the event that would happen? Although I'm going with AJ 100% on this fight, but in the event something like that would happen, what do you guys think would happen with the heavyweight division?
I think it's the same thing like when people talk about like Wilder losing and him being done. Like I think that's a gross misunderstanding of how boxing works. I think if he does lose to Miller and there's a rematch, I think it actually might even benefit the division. I know that might be crazy to think about. I think
I was going to say it would even, I think, benefit Joshua in a weird way that he suffers some kind of adversity, loses the belts, then comes back and avenges a loss. I think that's always good on, like a person's record. You come back and avenge a loss.
People forget that guys like Mike Tyson had the biggest fight of his career and did the biggest pay-per-view in history at the time, a decade after he lost to Buster Douglas. A decade after that. I think, again, if we have a big baby coming here and now all of a sudden he's a champion, a unified champion, and now a legit player in that top 3, top 4, top 5, I think it benefits the division. Having a loudmouth guy like Miller, and again, it adds more matchups that could be made. It adds more wrinkles, more variations of the division that we could really see play out. I think there's a benefit to that. Some chaos is good at times. Too much chaos is bad, where like the casual fan can't sort of pick, okay, what's the hierarchy of the division? If that's hard to spell out for the casuals, they have trouble connecting with the division in boxing. Right now, the hierarchy is pretty easy to understand. You have Fury, Wilder, and AJ in any order. They understand that. I think a Miller inclusion won't upset that too much. And plus, I think for U.S. boxing, it does a lot of benefit to have Miller as a loudmouth U.S. champion, unified champion. We're talking about all the champions in the heavyweight division being in the U.S. Like, that would be weird. I don't think we would. Like, we haven't had that in how long? There's some benefit to that, obviously. And plus, I think the rematch would be even bigger, even better. And hell, I mean, I would be even more hyped for it, even more hyped than I am for the first fight, obviously.
Yeah, and I can agree with that. You know, it's going to be like back in the days, the heavyweights back in the days. You know, where these guys did take losses. That's why I'm more in favor of going to somewhat of like a UFC standard, where these guys have to fight each other instead of drawing it out for years and years and years. I mean, it might be a little selfish of me as a fan, but just for us to produce the fights you really want to see in the times we want to see them. Like right now, we want to see Joshua and we want to see Wilder, but that's not necessarily going to happen right now for the fans. It's going to happen possibly in a time for the fighters, and one may be a little bit sliding down, or one may be a little bit, you know, may have lost once or something like that. But we wouldn't be able to see them. It brings more excitement to me when you have two champions fighting each other that are both producing wins, producing knockouts. Both of them are. Joshua has just as high of a knockout ratio as Wilder. You know, not as many fights, though, but, you know, just as he's only not knocked out who? One person? Joseph Parker? That's it. So they both have a high percentage of knockouts. To see them in this time right now, you know, Wilder's a little bit older. He hasn't shown me any signs of decline at all, of course. He's just 33. But to see them fight now, it seems like they're both in that prime, especially if AJ goes on and do a job on Miller. If he knocks him out and talk on Cole, I would have a different respect for him than I have right now. I would have a different respect for him, and I think that any real boxing enthusiast would have to. Because even though Jarrell Miller is, you know, more, like I said, a bully-type fighter, knocking him out, it's not going to be easy to just knock him out, you know. And if AJ could produce a performance like that, that would say something. I'm talking about extremely, positive about him. And I felt the same way about Luis Ortiz when Wilder fought him. I didn't think he would knock him out like that. When the fight was first going, we thought he would win, but I didn't think he would knock him out. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you felt the same way, man, or Rob, but I didn't think that, but he did do that. Nobody else has knocked Luis Ortiz out, although he hasn't fought many. We can say that. We can resume check all night long, but the fact of the matter is he hasn't. I mean, we could say the same about Dillian Whyte. I like Dillian Whyte, but Derek Chisora lost like 9 times. To say that that's a flagship fight for him, not really. If we had Wilder fighting a guy that's lost 8 times, like he's fighting Breazeale. Breazeale's only lost once. But a lot of people downplaying the fight. I mean, I think it's good for the heavyweight division. Let him mix it up. Let's see what the champion can do. If he produces excitement, let him produce that excitement. All of this is good for the heavyweight division to me, but I'm just a little concerned about what would happen, you know, if AJ would lose in that rematch clause. That would take us another year, pretty much, possibly, or to the end of 2019 before he would be freed up to even fight a Wilder. if Wilder still has his belt. So, all of it's interesting. All of it's the heavyweight division. I mean, it is alive. We got some things going on. Dillian Whyte making that move, get a little bit more exposure. I would like to see him fight Ortiz. Personally, I don't think he really wants to fight Ortiz, but now I think he may fight Ortiz. What do you guys think about that? Dillian Whyte, really, who's his next fight? Who do you think his next fight is?
Zulu, thank you for the call. We have to move on. I think Dillian Whyte's going to fight Brian Jennings or something like that. Like, don't expect.
There's history there.
There is. There's
pre-existing beef.
There is. I mean, Jennings has beef with everyone, man. Let's be honest. Jennings has beef with himself sometimes. He's a weird guy. But anyways, digression. Let's go to our last call of the day, it seems. Again, if you guys want to call in, you guys still can get in under the bell. You guys have about maybe 10 or so minutes before I will not take any more callers. Let's go out to Unrivaled Boxing Talk and News on the Skype machine. Unrivaled.
Yo, what's up?
What up?
What's up? Quick shout out to the WBU. Fantastic. They haven't updated their site since 2017, so phenomenal. Anyway, am I the only fan who's actually genuinely pissed off with everything that's been happening recently in boxing? Like 4 months ago, I was told I'd have Fury Wilder 2, AJ versus Dillian Whyte, right? That's what I was told in the heavyweight division. Now I've got AJ Miller, it's an okay fight. I've got Wilder fighting a tune-up, as you said recently, and it's mandatory against, what's-his-face, Dominic.
Breazeale.
Dillian Whyte is probably going to be fighting against maybe Jennings, Rivas, or some random-ass couch potato. Tyson Fury, same situation. He's there calling out Sefer Safiri again because apparently, the Albanian who's so good they had to name him twice was injured in the first fight. All I'm seeing is a stagnation in the heavyweight division, and too many people are talking about that. This fighter's making 10 million or this fighter's making 6 million. At the end of the day, I don't care. I want to see good fights, and I'm not getting any.
Agreed.
It's sad. It's disappointing. And all I can say is, Dillian Whyte, he turned down a career-high payday, to fight for 3 belts in front of 90 to 100,000 people at Wembley Stadium. That's a dream come true for any boxer as a kid. You're a kid, you dream of moments like that. And he turned that shit down. That disappoints me. Dominic Breazeale's fighting Wilder, I couldn't give less of a fuck. We're talking about if Jarrell Miller does well against Joshua, it could be interesting, right? Is he going to win? More than likely not. We're really hoping. We're hoping that something competitive happens from the fight, but we're not going to get that. So we as fans, all we are doing is enabling this nonsense bullshit. It's just ridiculous to me. And then I'm seeing all these different fucking rankings and people are like, oh, this ranking's better than this system's better than that system. It's all biased bullshit at the end of the day. Because Rob can go around and tell me the IBO rankings are great. I could tell him Transatlantic's better, or Transnational, or whatever it's called. I could tell him that's better. I could say that the WBU rankings are better. It doesn't fucking matter. At the end of the day, this is all just nonsense. I'm genuinely tired of it. When am I going to see the fights I want to see? I don't care. I don't care about Tyson Fury versus Brian Jennings or Oscar Rivas. I don't give a shit. I don't care about Dillian Whyte fighting fucking Malcolm Tan on an undercard of Terence Crawford to fill in the seats because they don't have anybody there to support. I do not give two fucks about it. It's saddening, disappointing, and it's just bollocks.
I agree. Unrivaled, I'm letting you just rant because I echo everything you're saying, and you're saying it better than me with a better accent.
Yeah, you said that the first time I showed up as well. But the biggest thing for me is we need to stop saying, I'm happy for him. I'm happy for him. I'm disappointed for us because we're the ones paying their fucking wages. It may sound disgusting. It may sound sad, but at the end of the day, I paid $5,000 to go over and watch the last fight, Wilder and Tyson Fury. I paid $5,000 total to go see that, right? I got good value, not really for money, but in terms of the overall experience. That was good. I ain't paying $5,000 to go see Brian Jennings and Dillian Whyte. I ain't paying $3,500 to see a blind man get his face jabbed in. I don't care. I'm done. Like, I'm actually going to say it right now. I'm a hardcore boxing fan, but the heavyweight division is showing what it is. It's the casual division of boxing. And if you're a hardcore heavyweight boxing fan, you're showing yourself to be a casual, because the real boxing that takes place is in the lowest divisions, because they're all so evenly matched. Even if you don't like lower weights, I don't like them either, but they're competitive. At least in the heavyweight division, we don't have 3 guys looking for $750 million to fight against fucking Oscar Rivas. Anyway, guys, I'm going to jump out. Peace.
Peace.
You're killing me, man!
Rob, it's been a fun show, man.
Kill me! That's stupid! Use your common sense.
Use your common sense, Rob.
You're killing me, man!
Yo. Anyways, if it's not perfectly clear on this show already, fuck the sanctioning bodies. WBC, WBA, IBO, WBU, any of you can get the fucking smoke, okay? I don't care. All of you lackeys and employees of sanctioning bodies, call in, man. There's a reason I got an open phone line. Call in and peddle that bullshit. Fuck the sanctioning bodies. You guys don't help at all for the sport. At all. Champion Lucas Brown is your champion. Gotta get the fuck out of here. Weirdos in the chat. Anyways, obviously Dillian Whyte getting that ESPN deal, allegedly. Can't wait to see what happens with that. Deontay Wilder, Breazeale. Who cares? Sorry, who cares? Klitschko coming back. Cool, I guess. The Gennady Golovkin update of no update. I'm tired of those. Please stop updating me about no update, guys. Mike, Keith, Dan, I know you're out there listening. Stop. Stop. Please. You don't need the extra likes and replies on Twitter. You guys don't need it. It's good. We don't need the update of the no update anymore. It's quite annoying, actually.
You understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
They don't. They don't. They're too busy beefing with each other online, let's be honest. And Gilberto Ramirez taking the biggest tune-up of his life. God, I'm sorry, Brew. Sorry, Brew. But anyways, follow me, Mount Hunter MCR, all platforms. You know where this show is at. You're listening to it. If you want to know where you can find it at other platforms, all the links are below in the description. Have a great day, great night, wherever you are. Peace. Rob, over to you.
Yeah, you can follow me Instagram and Twitter, UKRobMCR. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see where this all leads, and will we get the fights we want? I guess we will one day, but is it when we want them? Definitely not. So, welcome to being a boxing fan, I guess. We all sit here, get all this news, complain about it, moan about it, but guess what? We'll be watching each of the fights. Well, maybe not everybody. I know McGregor boxing unrivaled was quite upset about it.
Don't call him McGregor boxing, even though that's one of his usernames on Skype. It's very confusing.
All right, unrivaled boxing talk. He was, obviously feeling a certain way about it, and I understand. I really do, because seeing guys move to different networks, we historically know that's some kind of very big roadblock in the way of getting what we want. So, I feel his pain, but just here reporting the news. So yeah, or translating the reports of the news. But yeah, share the show, hit the thumbs up, check us out on Patreon, Boxing Banter, trending now, UK Hour, which did take a little diversion today. Thought we'd bring it to the main channel. Obviously there was sort of UK related news in all of this, but yeah, championship rounds, leave your questions for Matt, post your questions for Matt to answer. He likes an opinion and chopping it up and telling you what he thinks about it. Also, yeah, send him your questions his way, and obviously any topics for trending now, sort of popular culture stuff, Yeah, send them there, and they'll him and Fugati will chat that, because I don't know anything about pop culture or anything that's going on.
Yes.
Yeah, catch you later, guys.
Catch you later. And yes, I am trolling the chat on my own show. Welcome to the Matrix. Peace.
Are you off your tits? Have you been smoking something?
That's stupid. Use your common sense.
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Sometimes I feel discouraged. Yeah.
You're telling me that?
Hey, pussy, are you still there?